Alright guys, so in the last video we made it so that we could fetch all posts, post by ID, we could also delete. Now we're going to work with the likes. Okay, if you remember, we have an array inside of our post model for likes. And the idea here is when a user clicks the like in the front end, it should add them to the array. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab this comment right here. And this is going to be a put request because we're technically updating a post, and it's going to be for the endpoint post/like/ID because we need to know the ID of the post that's being liked. So let's change this to like a post, and of course this is private. So let's do router.put, and endpoint is /like/:ID. We want to add in our auth, and then our request response. Okay, so we're gonna do a try catch here, and let's do error, and then we'll do a console error, and also a 500 status. Okay, now in here we're going to fetch the post. So we'll say const post equals await, and then we're going to use the post model, and let's use find by ID, and we can get the ID from the request.params.id since that's included in the URL. And now we need to see or check if the post has already been liked by this user, because obviously we don't want to be able to have one user like a post as infinite times. So we're going to run an if statement. There's a few different ways you could do this. I'm going to use filter, which is a high order array method. So we're going to say if the post that we just got likes, which is an array, filter, okay, because we can filter through. And filter takes in a function, and the parameter is going to be like. I'm going to make it like, and then what I want to do is compare the current iteration, the current user, to the user that's logged in. So I'm going to say like.user, and I want to turn this into a string so that it will actually match the user ID that's in request.userid. Okay, so we're going to do toString and say if that equals request.user.id, which is the logged in user, and then we want to check the length of that. All right, so it's only going to return something if this matches, and if that length, so dot length, if that length is greater than 0, that means that it's already been liked. Okay, that means that there's already a like in there that has this user. So that's how we're going to do that. And if that's true, then we want to return res.json. And we'll send a 400, which is a bad request, and say JSON. And let's put a message in here. And we'll say post already liked. All right. Now, if that doesn't happen, if the user hasn't already liked it, then we want to take that post likes and we want to add on to it. So we could push, but I'm going to do unshift, which just puts it on the beginning. And then we want to add user, and it's going to be the user that's logged in. So request.user.id. Okay, and then we want to save it because right now it just added it to the post, to this right here, but we need to save it back to the database. So we're going to do await post.save, and then as far as a return, I'm actually going, or a response, I'm actually going to respond with the likes, post.likes. And there's a reason I'm doing that, which is in the front end. When we get to React and Redux, you'll see why I'm doing that. Okay, so let's save this and let's try to like a post. So what I'll do, let's see, what do we have for post? I forget. So we have one by John Doe and one by me. So let's log in. Let's use John Doe to like my post here. So we'll open up a new tab, and this is going to be a put request to post/like, and then we need the ID of the post. So let's grab this ID and put that in there. So for headers, I'm going to use John's token. So let's log in user as John J. Doe. Get that token. Okay, and then we'll go back here. We'll add X auth token. Okay, and let's see. I think that should do it. So let's send. Okay, so we get the likes back, which is an ID of the actual like, and then the user that liked it. Now, if I send again, it should give me an error. So let's try it. 400. Wait a minute. What did I do? Reds.json 400. I did that wrong, huh? Status 400. All right. So let's go back. Let's try it again. And we get post already liked. Awesome. And if we go to posts and let's send that again, you can see that my post has a like with an ID and the user. All right, so let's move on and do the unlike, I guess we could call it, because that's what we're doing. There's no dislikes. Like if you haven't liked a post, you can't add a dislike. It's just to remove your like. It's like a YouTube comment. So let's go back here, and I'm going to just copy this whole thing. Where is it? Grab that and paste that in. So this is going to be a put request, except it's going to be to post unlike ID. So unlike, and let's see, we're going to do, we need to see if the post has been liked, because we can't unlike a post that we haven't already liked. So it's very similar to what we did here, except instead of checking if the length is greater than 0, we're going to say if it's equal to 0, because if it's equal to 0, we haven't liked it yet. So we want to do the same response of 400, except we want to change the message to post has not yet been liked. Okay, and then instead of adding a like, we need to remove it. So we're gonna I'm gonna get rid of this, and let's get the remove index. This is very similar to what we did with the experience and education. We're gonna create a variable called remove index. I'm gonna say post dot likes, and I'm gonna use map. So for each like, I'm going to return like dot user, because remember, like in the like array we have the user, but I want this to be a string. So to string, I'm going to return that, and then we want to get the index of. So we're going to chain on to this index of, and then pass in the request.user.id. Okay, so that will get the correct like to remove, and then we need to splice it out of the array. So let's take post.likes, and let's do splice, and pass in that remove index, and then 1. We just want to remove 1 from that. Okay, and then we'll save, and then we'll send back the likes just like we did when we like a post. Okay. So let's save that, and we'll try it out. So we'll go to Postman. Let me just save the like request. We'll say like post. Save that, and then let's create a new tab, and let's do a put request to unlike. Let's see, unlike, I'm going to use the same ID. Oops, unlike. So this is the same ID, and then I'm just going to add to my headers I'm going to add John Doe's token. So let's try that. Send. Okay, so we unliked it. Yeah, so we unliked it and it returned the likes, which is there is no more because there was only one. So let's go back here and try to like it again. All right, so we liked it again. Post already liked. I'll go back to unlike it and it removes it. Now if I try to unlike it again, it should give me an error saying that it's not yet been liked. So let's try that. And it has not yet been liked. Good. But I'm just going to go ahead and re-like it just so that's in the database. And then I'm going to save this request here as unlike post. Okay, so everything seems to be working well. And you know, when we get into the front end side, there might be some things that we have to go back into Express and fix, but everything seems like it's working well. So in the next video, we're going to start to work on comments, which are very similar, where we add them to the array in the post collection. So we'll get to that next.